Peace everyone, Unmasked here, and today I'll be showing you how to create this water. On the left side of the screen you'll see the color palette that I'm using, and the numbers correspond to Luminance colored pencils. The paper I'm coloring on is Stonehenge vellum paper, and for those that support my channel over on Patreon, the real-time drawing video of this is over there for you now. Alright, so let's get started. Okay, so the color that I'm starting off with right now is the 801, and basically what I'm doing is covering the top half of the page with the 801. What I'm going to be doing to simplify the process and making this water is I'm using the top three colors, 801, 842, and 661, to create a gradient from the top left corner down to the bottom right corner. Here you can see me using the 842 pencil, and basically you can see that I've kind of cut the paper diagonally in half with that color. And now I'm going over that with the 661. Now I'm going back through those same colors, reversing the order and going back with 842 and then once again with the 801. And you can kind of see the gradient effect coming from the top left down to the bottom right. The next thing that I'm doing here is I'm using my odorless paint thinner to blend everything out. I simplified the process of creating a water type effect, and this is a very general kind of water. There's no real reflections that I'm working with. There's no trees in the reflections. Really, it's just a reflection of the sky. And it's a really simple process of creating the effect of waves in water. And as you can see, I'm only using 9 colors. And the way that I broke this process up is the top 3 colors create the under gradient of the water. This is more the uninterrupted reflection that you would get if the water was perfectly smooth. The next 3 colors are where the waves start to come in. And that's where the light starts to bend and you get a little bit of shadow area in the water. And the last 3 colors are the deeper, darker shadows where the waves get a little bit heavier and the details get more pronounced. Now that I've finished blending out with the paint thinner, I'm going back through with the same 3 colors, the 801, 842, and 661, and I'm just working in that gradient, and then I'm going back and blending with the paint thinner. Before moving on to the more detailed part, I want to make my gradient nice and smooth, so that's why I did a couple layers. Now you can see that I'm working on the second tier of colors. This is where the waves will start to come in, and I'm using the 732 to create the waves in the lighter area, and then here in a moment I'll switch to the 182 where I'll create the waves kind of in the middle, where the second color comes in. And once I create those waves, I'll use the 755 to create the waves in the bottom right corner. I did this piece pretty quickly, so I'm not going for photorealism here. The purpose of this tutorial is to break down the layers of the water in a way that might give you a new process when you're approaching coloring water. If you can train your eye to find the under gradient and then break up the waves and the details into their separate colors, this will really help your process when doing water. Now that I've created those shadows with the second tier colors, I'm going back through and I'm blending them out with the paint thinner. Once I smooth these colors out, it will start to look a little bit more like water. However, my contrast just quite isn't enough, so this is where the layering is really important. The reference photo that I used for this piece is quite different than how I'm working with it. I kind of chose slightly different colors than the photo. However, what's important is the value of the colors that you choose. See, now that I've finished blending it out, I've went through and I've created a bit more contrast using the last tier of colors, the 225, the 508, and then just a little bit of the black, the 009. I only use a small amount of the black in the bottom right corner just to darken up the 508 color. Once again, I go through and I blend that out with the odorless paint thinner. With my brush strokes, I'm not being real smooth with them. I'm kind of being jagged and creating that little ripple effect that you get in water. And like I mentioned, I didn't spend a lot of time on this piece. It only took about 40 minutes or so. So if you're looking to get more realistic water, you can use these same techniques, but you can place your colors a bit more precisely based on your reference photo. But the same techniques can be used to create more realistic water and water with complex reflections. The next thing that I'm doing is I'm using my 801 pencil to bring out a bit of the highlights that you would see in the bottom right corner. This is where the back of the wave would be facing the sun or the light source. Now I'm just going through with a few of my other colors just to kind of establish a little bit more of the waves, create a bit more detail, and just making the water a bit more dynamic and realistic. And once again, now I'm going through and blending all that out with my paint thinner. Creating water can kind of be an overwhelming task, so when you break it up into these 3 different layers, it really simplifies the process. Now what I'm doing is I'm going through with my 842, and I'm kind of getting the middle section of the water and just helping the colors blend more smoothly from one side of the paper to the other. I also use a little bit of my 801 just to hit up the highlights a bit more. The starker the contrast that you can create between the lights and the darks really helps create the effect of the wave. Alright everyone, here's the finished product. I hope you enjoyed the video and found it helpful. Remember that if you'd like to see the real-time video, to head over to my Patreon page. Otherwise, be sure to subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, and I'll see you next time. Take care. Peace.